Justin Alexander Shetler, a 35-year-old survivalist and travel blogger from Oregon, was not your average adventurer. Known for his extraordinary skills and unyielding spirit, Justin had always sought more than just thrill. He chased meaning, a deeper understanding of life itself. In early 2016, his restless soul led him thousands of miles away from familiar territory to the mystical Parvati Valley in Himachal Pradesh, India, a place whispered among explorers as the Valley of Death. Why did Justin choose this rugged Himalayan wilderness? The valley was renowned not just for its breathtaking beauty, but for its spiritual significance and deadly challenges. Justin intended to live in a cave, embracing the austere life of a sadhu, a Hindu holy man, to seek enlightenment. His social media posts before the trip showed glimpses of his preparations, training his body, meditating, and documenting his path toward the spiritual quest. On July 22, 2016, Justin arrived at the Parvati Valley, greeted by towering peaks, dense forests, and winding rivers. Locals noted the calm determination in his eyes. Justin was ready to embrace whatever the mountains held. The valley, however, held a darker reputation. Many foreign travelers had vanished there, their fate swallowed by nature or worse. But Justin's survival skills were top-notch and his resolve unwavering. In the weeks that followed, Justin adapted to the valley's demanding terrain. He befriended local sadhus and trekkers, often seen meditating beside rivers or wandering remote trails with his backpack and camera. His blog reflected a man deeply transformed by the silence and solitude of the Himalayas. Then, on August 22, Justin set off on a fateful 3-day trek to Mantalai Lake, a sacred site revered by pilgrims. Accompanied by Satyanarayan Rawat, a local sadhu, he vanished into the misty mountains, leaving behind only fleeting messages hinting at an extraordinary journey ahead. This was the last time anyone officially heard from Justin Shetler. What happened next would plunge the valley into mystery and ignite a global search for answers. Did the mountains claim him? Was there a darker secret lurking in the shadows? The story of Justin Shetler's disappearance was just beginning, and it would haunt the Himalayas for years to come. The day Justin Shetler began his trek to Mantalai Lake, the air was thick with mist, wrapping the Himalayan peaks in an eerie shroud. The sacred lake, perched high in the mountains, promised spiritual awakening, but was also known for its treacherous paths and sudden storms. With his survival gear and a steady heart, Justin walked alongside Satyanarayan Rawat, the sadhu who would soon become a shadow in this unfolding mystery. For days, the two trekked deeper into the wilderness. Justin's last messages, sparse and cryptic, hinted at profound spiritual experiences, yet something seemed off. Fellow travelers noticed a change in him, a silent intensity, a distant gaze that didn't quite reach his surroundings. Was the mountain affecting him? Or was there something darker at play? On September 3rd, a fellow trekker spotted Justin alone on a narrow mountain trail. He was heading back toward his motorcycle, separated from Satyanarayan. That was the last confirmed sighting of Justin. After this, the trail went cold. What happened in those final moments? Why did Justin part ways with the sadhu? And where did he go after that lonely path? No one knows. His backpack, packed meticulously with supplies, was never found. His camera, which had captured his journey's start, disappeared without a trace. It was as if Justin had been swallowed by the mountains themselves. The mystery deepened when Satyanarayan Rawat, the only person who could fill the gaps, vanished too. Days later, he was found dead in police custody, reportedly by suicide, raising even more questions than answers. Was his death connected to Justin's disappearance? Some whispered about foul play, others about ancient local secrets guarding the valley's hidden truths. Locals called Parvati Valley the Valley of Death for a reason. It was a place where nature's beauty masked dangers that had claimed many lives over the years. But Justin was no ordinary traveler. His survival skills were legendary. Could the valley really defeat a man like him? Or had something else, something unseen and sinister, intervened? The authorities launched searches, but the dense forests and steep cliffs swallowed every lead. Friends and family waited in agonizing silence, hoping for a sign. Online, the story went viral. Forums buzzed with theories, from accidental death to abduction, even supernatural involvement. But one truth remained. Justin Shetler had vanished into the Himalayas without a trace, leaving behind only haunting questions. As the days turned into weeks, the search for Justin Shetler became a labyrinth of unanswered questions and dark suspicions. The Parvati Valley's harsh terrain had swallowed many before, but Justin's disappearance felt different, almost deliberate. Whispers began circulating among locals and investigators alike. Was there more to this story than a mere accident? Satyanarayan Rawat, the sadhu who accompanied Justin, was suddenly at the center of it all. His enigmatic personality, combined with his sudden death in police custody, cast a long shadow. Official reports claimed suicide, but murmurs of foul play and cover-ups spread quickly. Who really was Satyanarayan? And what secrets did he take with him to the grave? Friends of Justin recalled that he had sensed danger days before vanishing. His last few social media posts grew increasingly cryptic, hinting at mistrust and fear. Had he stumbled upon something in the valley, a secret or perhaps a threat that made him a target? The locals' attitude was a mix of fear and superstition. Many refused to talk openly, warning outsiders about the valley's curse. Some claimed Justin was too reckless, that he disrespected sacred lands, stirring forces beyond human comprehension. Others believed darker, human forces were at work, smugglers, secret cults, or hidden criminal activities that the valley's remoteness helped conceal. One chilling discovery surfaced weeks into the search, a set of footprints leading away from Justin's last known location, abruptly ending at a cliffside. No body, no belongings, just the eerie silence of the mountains. Could he have fallen, or was he taken? If abducted, by whom? And why? Online communities exploded with theories. Some speculated Justin had voluntarily disappeared, seeking a new life beyond the reach of civilization. Others were convinced something sinister had occurred. The mysterious death of Satyanarayan only fueled the fire, leaving a gaping hole in the truth. Authorities were tight-lipped and the investigation seemed to stall. Reports of missing foreign travelers in the valley were not new, but this case had a strange intensity, the kind that hinted at secrets too dangerous to surface. Meanwhile, Justin's family grew desperate. Pleas for more thorough investigations echoed worldwide, but the rugged Himalayan wilderness seemed to guard its secrets fiercely. What really happened to Justin Shetler in the Himalayas? Was it nature's unforgiving grip, human betrayal, or something far more mysterious? The answer remained lost in the mists of Parvati Valley, waiting for the day it might finally emerge from the shadows. Weeks passed, but the mountains held their secrets tightly. Search parties combed the dense forests and steep ridges of Parvati Valley, but all they found were fragments of hope, a few scattered footprints, broken twigs, a piece of cloth torn from a backpack. Nothing concrete. No sign of Justin Shetler. It was as if the very earth had swallowed him whole. Local villagers whispered about strange happenings. Some claimed to have seen a lone figure wandering near the edges of the valley at odd hours. Others spoke of sudden, unnatural silences, birds that stopped singing, dogs that barked without reason. The valley seemed alive with watchful eyes, silent witnesses to an unseen drama. A hiker, passing through weeks later, reported finding a small campsite near the trail to Mantalai Lake. The fire was cold, ashes scattered, and nearby lay a few belongings, but no identification, no clear sign of who had been there. Could this have been Justin's final refuge? Or a trap set by unknown hands? Meanwhile, the investigation into Satyanarayan Rawat's death deepened the mystery. Official reports said he had hanged himself in custody, but those close to the case whispered about pressure and threats. Some officials allegedly tried to suppress evidence that could implicate powerful local figures. Was the sadhu silenced to keep the valley's dark truths hidden? Online sleuths pieced together Justin's last communications, emails, social posts, voice notes, each message layered with hints of fear and uncertainty. One voice note, barely audible, captured a whispered warning: "Not everyone here wants me to find the truth." The chilling tone left listeners wondering, what had Justin discovered that made him a target? More unsettling was the sudden disappearance of key witnesses and guides familiar with the valley's secrets. A local porter vanished without explanation, and a fellow trekker left town abruptly, refusing to speak to anyone about what he'd seen. The deeper the search went, the more tangled the web became. Was Justin's disappearance a tragic accident, a sinister crime, or something more enigmatic, a spiritual punishment, or a secret the valley's ancient forces protected fiercely? As the sun set behind the Himalayan peaks, the valley held its breath, keeping its mysteries locked away, at least for now. The air in Parvati Valley grew heavier with silence as whispers of Justin's disappearance morphed into rumors thick with fear and suspicion. The man who had once walked the trails as a spirited adventurer was now a ghost, haunting the minds of those who had crossed his path and those who hadn't. Satyanarayan Rawat, the sadhu who accompanied Justin on his final trek, had always been an enigma. Known among locals for his austere lifestyle and rumored mystical powers, he was both respected and feared. But behind his serene facade lay secrets that few dared to uncover. After his mysterious death in police custody, a hidden diary surfaced, found by a curious villager near the sadhu's humble abode. The pages were filled with cryptic entries, coded messages, and references to a path less traveled, one that promised enlightenment but demanded a terrible price. One passage read, "The mountain tests all souls, but some pay with more than blood." This diary hinted that Justin had been drawn into a world far beyond the spiritual retreat he sought. The valley, it seemed, held ancient rituals and unspoken laws, guarded fiercely by those who knew them. Had Justin stumbled upon one such secret? Or worse, had he violated a sacred trust? The local police, already criticized for their handling of the case, found themselves entangled in political pressures. Some officers whispered of threats from powerful locals who wanted the matter closed quickly. The valley's undercurrents were not just natural but human: smuggling, drug trafficking, and perhaps darker dealings. In the nearby village, a woman spoke quietly of a curse that befell those who dared disrespect the land. Her eyes, clouded with sorrow, revealed a story of past travelers who vanished without a trace, their spirits rumored to wander the forests. Could Justin's disappearance be the latest chapter in this grim saga? Meanwhile, online forums buzzed with speculation fueled by the sadhu's diary excerpts and the valley's eerie reputation. Some believed Justin had uncovered an ancient cult's secrets, others suggested he had been targeted by criminals disguised as holy men. Back in Oregon, Justin's family clung to hope but feared the worst. They begged for transparency and a deeper investigation while the valley continued to shroud its truths in silence and shadow. What was this path less traveled? What terrible price did the mountain demand? And could the answers lie hidden forever beneath the towering peaks of the Himalayas? The more the valley concealed, the louder the questions became. Weeks into the search for Justin Shetler, a chilling discovery sent shockwaves through the tight-knit community of adventurers and locals alike. A single, blood-stained scarf was found clutched in a jagged crevice near a treacherous ridge on the way to Mantalai Lake. It bore no name, no clue beyond the faint scent of pine and earth, but for those who knew Justin, it was unmistakable. This discovery reignited hopes and fears in equal measure. Was this the final remnant of Justin's presence, or a cruel trap laid to mislead searchers? The treacherous terrain, infamous for sudden drops and hidden caves, seemed to whisper secrets of an unseen witness to whatever fate had befallen him. As search teams combed the area, another piece of the puzzle surfaced. A weathered journal, water-stained and half-buried under a pile of rocks. The pages, barely legible, contained frantic entries dated just days before Justin's disappearance. Lines spoke of strange encounters, shadowy figures lurking on trails, and a growing sense of paranoia. One haunting passage read, "They watch from the trees. I hear whispers, but no voice dares to speak my name." Who were they? Locals or outsiders? Humans or something else? The line between reality and legend blurred as tales of unseen watchers and mountain spirits surfaced, each more unsettling than the last. Meanwhile, whispers about the Sadhu Satyanarayan's possible involvement gained traction. Some believed he had led Justin into danger, willingly or unwillingly, while others thought he was a victim of the same forces that took Justin. His death in custody remained shrouded in mystery. Was it truly suicide, or a silencing? Behind the scenes, authorities faced mounting pressure. Investigations stalled amid allegations of corruption and intimidation. Key witnesses receded into shadows, some disappearing without a trace. The valley's dark heart seemed impenetrable. Online, a digital detective community emerged, piecing together fragments from social media, satellite images, and witness accounts. Theories ranged from kidnapping by local gangs to involvement of a secretive spiritual sect guarding ancient knowledge. Each idea more haunting than the last. Justin's family, meanwhile, struggled with unbearable uncertainty, clinging to the hope that their son might still be alive, somewhere beyond the reach of human understanding. Their pleas echoed across continents, urging the world not to forget. As the Himalayan winds howled through the valley, carrying with them the ghosts of those lost before, one truth remained clear. Justin Shetler's story was far from over. The mountains had taken one of their own, but the search for answers was only beginning. The Parvati Valley had become a stage for whispers and shadows. The more the search for Justin Shetler pressed on, the clearer it became that this was no ordinary disappearance. Each step closer to the truth seemed to be met with silence, or worse, silence broken by a sinister presence. As investigators delved into the last known movements of Justin, unsettling patterns emerged. Witnesses described a figure seen lurking near his campsite, not a local villager nor a fellow trekker, but someone who seemed to vanish into thin air after being spotted. Their descriptions varied: a man cloaked in traditional robes yet with eyes that burned like embers, a stranger who spoke in cryptic riddles, warning travelers to turn back. Justin, it appeared, had walked into a dangerous game, one where the stakes were life and death. The sacred lake he sought was rumored to be the heart of an ancient ritual site, guarded by those who believed outsiders threatened their secrets. Could Justin have unknowingly trespassed into forbidden territory? Local legends spoke of the Watchers, spectral guardians who punished the reckless and the curious alike. Hikers who dared disrespect the valley's sanctity were said to disappear without a trace, swallowed by fog or lost in labyrinthine caves. Some locals claimed that these spirits could manipulate minds, driving victims into madness or despair. Meanwhile, troubling reports surfaced about missing persons linked to the valley. Foreign travelers who vanished over the years, their cases eerily similar to Justin's. Yet, none had sparked as much international attention. Why was Justin's story different? Perhaps because he was more than just a tourist. He was a man seeking truth in a place built on secrets. The investigation took a darker turn when satellite imagery revealed unusual activity near the Mantalai Lake Trail. What looked like ritualistic markings carved into the rocks, circles etched into the earth, and disturbed earth patches suggesting recent digging. Could these be evidence of human involvement, or something far older? In a late-night phone call, an anonymous informant hinted at a hidden network operating in the valley. People who controlled access, who decided who could leave and who was meant to vanish. Their motives? Unknown. Their methods? Ruthless. For Justin's family and followers, the answers seemed just out of reach, obscured by the valley's dense forests and even denser mysteries. But one thing was certain. The valley was no passive witness to Justin's fate. It was an active player in a dangerous game, where curiosity could be deadly. The fog rolled in thick that evening, swallowing the narrow mountain trails and muffling every sound. In the dense silence, a faint whisper traveled with the wind. A whisper that spoke of secrets buried deep beneath the towering peaks of Parvati Valley. Days after the discovery of strange markings near Mantalai Lake, the atmosphere grew tense. The local villagers grew increasingly wary, their eyes darting nervously at outsiders asking too many questions. Many refused to speak, casting nervous glances over their shoulders, as if fearing unseen watchers. Rumors spread of a secretive group known only as the Guardians, a shadowy collective said to protect the valley's ancient rituals and sacred grounds. According to the whispers, these guardians had been around for centuries, passing down their knowledge and vows of silence through generations. Outsiders like Justin were not just travelers to them. They were intruders, threats to a fragile balance. An anonymous note surfaced online, posted on a travel forum dedicated to Himalayan trekking. It read, "Some truths are meant to stay buried. He came too close. The mountain remembers." The cryptic message sent chills through the community of online investigators who had been piecing together Justin's last days. Meanwhile, a former trekker, who wished to remain anonymous, came forward with a chilling account. He claimed to have witnessed Justin arguing with a group of cloaked figures near a remote shrine. The exchange was heated, filled with warnings and veiled threats. According to this witness, Justin had found something powerful and dangerous. Back in the valley, search teams encountered unexplainable obstacles. Equipment malfunctioned inexplicably, GPS devices lost signal in a precise radius, and thick fog rolled in at odd hours, cutting off communication. Some team members reported feeling watched, their instincts screaming at them to flee. Even more disturbing was the sudden silence from the local police, who had been cooperating initially but now seemed reluctant to share updates. Journalists covering the story faced bureaucratic roadblocks, and some were quietly warned to back off. At the heart of the mystery was a question that haunted everyone involved. What exactly had Justin Shetler uncovered in Parvati Valley? Was it an ancient secret, a modern conspiracy, or something else entirely? As night fell over the Himalayas, the valley's secrets remained locked away, guarded by whispers in the fog and by those who would kill to keep them hidden. The days that followed were a blur of frantic searches and dead ends. Justin's disappearance was no longer just a missing persons case, it had become a dark legend whispered in hushed tones across the Himalayas. The deeper the investigators dug, the more the trail seemed to vanish before their eyes. A breakthrough, or so it seemed, came when a remote drone, dispatched to scout the rugged terrain near Mantalai Lake, captured fleeting images of a shadowy figure moving swiftly between the trees. The figure's identity was obscured, but its presence near the last known location of Justin set off alarms. Was this Justin himself, still alive and trying to evade unknown pursuers? Or was it someone else, watching the valley like a predator stalking its prey? Witnesses reported eerie sounds echoing through the night, distant chants, unexplained footsteps, and the occasional cry that seemed human yet unplaceable. Some trekkers abandoned their plans, fearing the valley was cursed, a place where reality and nightmare entwined. Meanwhile, digital investigators scoured social media and satellite data, piecing together Justin's last days. Strange gaps appeared in his communication logs, moments where his phone abruptly went silent despite being in supposedly reachable areas. Was he forced into silence? Or had he chosen isolation to protect something or someone? The death of Satyanarayan Rawat remained a gaping wound in the investigation. New evidence suggested he was more than a mere guide, possibly a key player in a hidden network controlling the valley's secrets. Yet, his sudden demise in custody was shrouded in mystery with conflicting reports about the circumstances and cause. As the investigation stalled, rumors swirled of a secret cave system beneath the valley, rumored to house relics and artifacts from a forgotten era. Could Justin have discovered such a place, prompting his disappearance? Or had he been lured into its depths by promises of enlightenment only to become trapped forever? The valley's isolation became both a shield and a prison, protecting its mysteries from the outside world. The mountains loomed large, indifferent to the lives and legends unfolding in their shadow. Justin's family clung to hope, yet the haunting question persisted. Was their son alive, hidden away in the valley's labyrinth, or had the mountains claimed him as another lost soul in their eternal embrace? As the investigation into Justin Shetler's disappearance dragged on, whispers of a conspiracy began to seep through the cracks of the official narrative. The pristine image of the Parvati Valley as a serene spiritual retreat was fading, replaced by shadows of suspicion and intrigue. Insiders hinted at a network operating in the valley, a secret alliance of locals, officials, and perhaps outsiders, all with vested interests in keeping the valley's darkest secrets hidden. This silent conspiracy, as it came to be known among some investigators, was said to manipulate information flow, obstruct searches, and silence witnesses. Justin's last known interactions seemed increasingly entangled with this covert network. Before his disappearance, he had reportedly questioned a powerful local figure, someone with ties to illicit activities masked behind spiritual facades. Could this confrontation have sealed his fate? New testimony from a courageous local guide revealed alarming details. He spoke of secret meetings held in the dead of night, rituals combining ancient beliefs with modern criminal undertakings, from smuggling to illegal mining, all cloaked beneath the guise of spiritual guardianship. Meanwhile, digital breadcrumbs from Justin's devices pointed toward encrypted communications with unidentified contacts. Who were they, and what knowledge did they share? These encrypted messages vanished soon after his disappearance, erased by unknown hands. The police, under pressure and suspicion themselves, maintained an official stance of an accidental disappearance. Yet, deep inside the force, some officers quietly pushed for truth, sharing off-the-record insights about intimidation and threats faced during the probe. Amidst the chaos, the valley itself seemed to react. Sudden landslides blocked access roads, severe weather halted expeditions, and key witnesses mysteriously relocated or disappeared. Was nature protecting secrets, or were human hands orchestrating these obstacles? Justin's family, growing frustrated with the slow pace and veiled responses, launched their own private investigations. They reached out to international agencies, trekked dangerous paths themselves, and demanded accountability. Their fight became a beacon of hope amidst the valley's growing darkness. The question remained, how deep did this conspiracy run? And was Justin Shetler's disappearance the tragic cost of peeling back the veil on Parvati Valley's silent war? The silence was deafening. Weeks had passed without a single confirmed sighting, message, or clue about Justin Shetler's whereabouts. Then, out of the void, came the faintest flicker of hope, a mysterious transmission intercepted on a local radio frequency, barely audible and heavily distorted. The message, lasting mere seconds, contained a voice that sounded unmistakably like Justin's. Though fragmented, the words carried an urgent plea: "Help, trapped, can't move, watching me." Before the static swallowed the signal, a final chilling whisper echoed, "They're coming." The transmission sent shockwaves through the investigation team. Was Justin still alive, stranded somewhere deep within the labyrinthine valleys or hidden caves? Who were they that he feared? And why was this message never relayed to authorities until now? Search parties rushed to triangulate the source but found nothing but dead air and impenetrable wilderness. Each attempt to locate the broadcast ended with failed equipment and confusing signals that seemed almost supernatural. Meanwhile, the local villagers grew more secretive, their eyes reflecting ancient fears. An elder spoke of a veil between worlds thinning in the valley, a place where the living and the spirits intermingle and where some souls become forever lost. The death of Satyanarayan Rawat, once thought a mere coincidence, took on new significance. Investigators discovered that his journals contained cryptic references to a watcher in the shadows, a presence that could manipulate reality and minds alike. Was this entity a myth or something far more tangible? Rumors swirled about disappearances dating back centuries, each linked to this dark force. Some claimed that those who heard the last signal were marked, doomed to vanish into the abyss. Justin's family clung to the faint hope the message provided, even as the cold grip of despair tightened around them. The world watched and waited, suspended between belief and skepticism as the mystery deepened. With each unanswered question, the valley's dark heart seemed to beat louder, pulsing with secrets and shadows that might never see the light of day. As the search for Justin Shetler intensified, attention turned to a figure previously overlooked, a local guide named Ramesh who had last been seen with Justin days before his disappearance. Ramesh was known in the valley for his deep knowledge of the terrain and a mysterious past, but suddenly he had vanished without a trace. Investigators found Ramesh's belongings abandoned near a narrow trail leading to a hidden cave system, a place locals rarely spoke of and warned outsiders to avoid. His sudden disappearance added a new layer of complexity to the case, suggesting that Ramesh might have known more than he ever revealed. Rumors swirled that Ramesh had stumbled upon something forbidden, perhaps the secret rituals whispered about in the shadows of Parvati Valley. Some speculated he had been silenced for knowing too much, others believed he chose to disappear to protect himself and those he cared about. Witnesses claimed to have heard frantic voices arguing near the cave entrance days before Ramesh's disappearance. One villager recalled seeing a group of cloaked figures dragging someone into the darkness, their faces obscured by hooded robes. Was Ramesh the victim? Or had he been involved in something far darker? The cave system itself was a labyrinth of narrow tunnels and underground chambers, rumored to house relics and artifacts tied to ancient cults. Explorers who ventured too close spoke of strange symbols carved into the walls and an overwhelming sense of dread that forced them to flee. Meanwhile, encrypted messages believed to be from Ramesh's phone surfaced online, hinting at a clandestine meeting that was to take place just before his disappearance. The messages were filled with warnings about the Guardians and a price to be paid. As the net tightened, the valley seemed to push back harder. Search teams reported equipment malfunctions and sudden rock slides blocking critical paths. Was nature protecting Ramesh's secret, or were human forces orchestrating these barriers? Justin's family, desperate for answers, reached out to Ramesh's relatives, hoping to uncover clues that official channels had missed. Their quest for truth brought them face to face with a community caught between ancient traditions and modern fears. In the heart of Parvati Valley, the lines between myth and reality blurred, and the fate of two men, one a seeker of enlightenment, the other a keeper of secrets, hung precariously in the balance. The deeper the search teams ventured into the labyrinthine caves near Parvati Valley, the thicker the veil of mystery grew. These caves, once dismissed as mere geological formations, revealed traces of something ancient, symbols etched into stone, strange artifacts half buried in dust, and an overwhelming sensation that unseen eyes were watching every step. Explorers spoke of whispers carried by the wind, faint and indecipherable, yet unmistakably human. Some claimed to have glimpsed fleeting shadows darting just beyond the reach of their flashlights. Panic gripped the hearts of even the most seasoned trekkers, forcing some to flee prematurely. Among the artifacts was a small, carved amulet bearing a symbol matching those found in the diary of the late Satyanarayan Rawat. The connection was unmistakable. The sadhu's cryptic writings were tied to these ancient relics, hinting at a powerful secret guarded fiercely for centuries. Meanwhile, encrypted messages intercepted from unknown sources suggested a network of protectors who would stop at nothing to keep these secrets buried. These guardians seemed to possess knowledge far beyond mortal means, and their reach extended beyond the valley, possibly even into the corridors of power. Rumors began swirling of ritualistic ceremonies performed in these caves, blending dark spiritualism with intimidation tactics to control the local population and repel outsiders. The valley was not just a remote wilderness, it was a stronghold of secrets that could topple established orders. Justin Shetler, it seemed, had unwittingly stepped into this world, a world where the quest for enlightenment came with deadly consequences. His last days, filled with growing paranoia and fear, painted a picture of a man hunted not only by human adversaries but by forces beyond comprehension. The discovery of Ramesh's disappearance near the cave entrance added to the dread. Was he a victim or a participant in these dark rites? Did he leave clues in his cryptic messages? Or were they desperate warnings? As search parties grappled with the valley's dangers, one thing was clear: this was no ordinary disappearance. The shadows that whispered beneath the surface carried truths that could change everything. The chill of the mountain air seemed to grow colder as the search for Justin Shetler pushed into forbidden territory. Deep within the winding caves and dense forests of Parvati Valley, rumors spoke of a ritual so ancient and secretive that its very existence was denied by locals. A rite said to bind souls to the valley forever. Evidence began to surface in whispers and fragments. Travelers who had narrowly escaped the valley told tales of eerie gatherings beneath the full moon, where cloaked figures performed ceremonies with chants that echoed through the night like a haunting lullaby. The ritual, they said, was a pact with forces older than time, a dark covenant protecting the valley's secrets at any cost. Justin's last known movements aligned disturbingly with these accounts. Before vanishing, he had been seen near a hidden shrine, a place shrouded in superstition and fear. Some believed he had witnessed the ritual, or worse, interrupted it. Documents recovered from the diaries of Satyanarayan Rawat hinted at the ritual's purpose: to preserve the power of the Guardians, the secretive group protecting the valley's ancient knowledge. These Guardians believed that outsiders threatened to unravel the delicate balance between the spiritual and the mortal worlds. The valley's physical dangers, treacherous cliffs, sudden storms, and deep caves paled in comparison to the intangible threats lurking within. Those who opposed the Guardians faced more than just physical harm; they risked being consumed by the valley's dark spiritual forces, lost to the world forever. Investigators found strange markings near the shrine, symbols that matched those found in ancient texts detailing forbidden rites. The air around the site was thick with a palpable energy, a mix of reverence and dread. Meanwhile, Justin's family clung to hope but feared the worst. The more they learned about the valley's hidden depths, the clearer it became that Justin had been caught in a web far beyond a simple disappearance. As night fell over the Parvati Valley, the shadows deepened and the forbidden ritual remained a chilling enigma, a dark heart beating silently beneath the Himalayan peaks. With each passing day, the mystery of Justin Shetler's disappearance grew more tangled, like the dense forests of Parvati Valley itself. In a dimly lit room far from the Himalayan peaks, investigators pored over cryptic clues left behind, fragments of notes, coded messages, and symbols etched into worn leather journals. Among these was a peculiar discovery: a series of postcards sent by Justin from various points on his journey. On the surface, they were simple greetings to friends and family, but a closer look revealed a hidden code embedded within the text, a desperate attempt to communicate a secret message cloaked beneath innocent words. Deciphering the code revealed warnings about shadowed watchers and paths that vanish. One message ominously concluded, "Trust no one, the valley hides eyes where none should be." The implication was clear: Justin had sensed danger well before his disappearance. He had been trying to warn those he loved, but the valley's grip tightened with every passing moment. Meanwhile, a recovered voice recording added to the suspense. In the shaky audio, Justin's voice trembled as he spoke of unseen forces and a growing paranoia that they were always near. The recording ended abruptly, as if cut off by fear or interference. At the heart of these messages was the realization that Justin had been caught in a web of deceit. His every move watched, his trust betrayed. Locals who once greeted the search teams with cautious smiles now averted their eyes, their silence speaking volumes. Rumors of collaborators within the community fueled speculation of a vast network protecting the valley's darkest secrets. As the coded postcards circulated online, followers of Justin's story began to piece together a chilling narrative, one where survival meant navigating not just physical dangers, but a complex maze of human treachery. The deeper the truth was sought, the more it seemed to slip through grasping hands, like mist fading into the Himalayan dawn. The mystery of Justin Shetler's disappearance was no longer confined to the rugged trails and shadowed caves of Parvati Valley. It had seeped into the corridors of power, where whispered conversations and clandestine meetings hinted at a truth too dangerous to reveal. Behind closed doors, officials exchanged worried glances. Reports surfaced of evidence being withheld, of search efforts deliberately slowed. Journalists who dug too deep faced subtle threats, their questions met with cold silence or veiled warnings. Meanwhile, Justin's encrypted communications revealed a network of contacts, shadowy figures whose identities remained unknown but whose influence was undeniable. These contacts appeared to be intermediaries between the valley's secretive guardians and outsiders. One intercepted message spoke of voices lost in the fog, hinting at a conspiracy reaching far beyond the mountains. Could these voices be those of others who vanished before Justin? Were they silenced witnesses or unwilling participants in a larger scheme? In the valley, locals grew increasingly wary. Some believed the guardians had allies in high places, shielding them from scrutiny. Others whispered of ancient pacts where loyalty was bought with silence and fear. Amid this tense backdrop, a breakthrough came unexpectedly. A hidden compartment was discovered in an abandoned monastery near the valley. Inside, a collection of artifacts, documents, and recordings that seemed to chronicle decades of secret rituals and disappearances. Among the items was a faded photograph showing a group of men and women, their faces obscured by shadows, gathered around an altar. At the center was a figure strikingly similar to Satyanarayan Rawat. The image suggested a lineage of guardians passing their mantle through generations. The discovery sent shockwaves through the investigation. If these guardians had operated unchecked for decades, how deep did their influence run? And what price had Justin paid for stepping into their domain? As the world watched, the Parvati Valley remained a fortress of secrets, its true story hidden behind vanished voices and shadows that refused to fade. The revelation of the hidden artifacts in the monastery was just the beginning. Among the dusty relics, investigators uncovered an old, leather-bound book. Its pages yellowed and fragile, inscribed with strange symbols and a cipher unlike anything previously seen. This was the Guardians' coded legacy, a language crafted to veil their most sacred secrets. Cryptographers and historians were brought in to decode the text. Days turned into weeks, and slowly, a chilling story emerged. The book chronicled centuries of rituals, disappearances, and warnings. A tale of power intertwined with sacrifice, and a pact sealed in blood to guard the valley's ancient forces. One passage spoke of the Lost Watcher, a guardian spirit believed to punish those who trespassed beyond sacred grounds. Another detailed a veil of silence, a curse meant to obscure the valley from the eyes of the world, ensuring that those who sought forbidden knowledge were never heard from again. More disturbingly, the book hinted at a cycle, a recurring fate for those who dared challenge the guardians. Each generation saw a seeker vanish, their stories fading into myth, their voices silenced. As experts worked tirelessly to interpret the cipher, they stumbled upon a section that appeared unfinished, as if the last pages were torn out or hidden. These missing pages were believed to contain the key to breaking the curse or, conversely, to unleashing a darker power. Meanwhile, encrypted communications recovered from Justin's devices contained fragments matching the book's code. It was clear that Justin had begun to unravel this dangerous legacy, piecing together clues that might have led to his downfall. In a desperate attempt to send a final message, Justin had embedded warnings within his postcards and voice recordings, hoping that someone would decipher them and uncover the truth behind his disappearance. The search for the missing pages became a race against time. Was there a way to save Justin? Or had the valley already claimed him as its eternal prisoner? Outside the shadows of Parvati Valley, the world watched, captivated by a story where ancient curses, secret societies, and a man's quest for truth collided in a deadly dance. The tension had reached a breaking point. The search for Justin Shetler was no longer just a quest for a missing man, but a desperate race against the darkness that seemed to consume Parvati Valley itself. With the discovery of the coded book and the missing pages, the stakes had never been higher. Experts working tirelessly on the cipher had uncovered a chilling revelation. The The missing pages hinted at a location. A hidden chamber deep within the valley, said to be the heart of the Guardian's power. This chamber was rumored to hold the answers to the valley's ancient curse and possibly Justin's fate. Time was running out. Search teams, now armed with new leads, prepared to venture into the valley's most dangerous and uncharted regions. But the valley fought back with storms, landslides, and a silence that spoke of watchful eyes lurking in the shadows. Meanwhile, encrypted fragments from Justin's last communications revealed a cryptic message. The light fades, but the truth remains. Find the heart, break the silence. This message fueled hope, but also fear. What awaited those brave enough to reach the hidden chamber? And what darkness lay in wait for those who dared to disturb it? As the expedition set off, tensions ran high. Locals warned of ancient spirits and curses, urging outsiders to turn back. Yet, the team pressed on, driven by the desperate hope of finding Justin and uncovering the valley's deepest secrets. But in the shadows, a force moved silently, unseen but palpable. A presence that watched the searchers' every step, waiting for the right moment to strike. Justin's family followed the unfolding events from afar, their hearts heavy with hope and dread. Each update brought them closer to answers or deeper into the valley's deadly grip. The final clue had been found, but the path ahead was fraught with peril. In the Valley of Death, only the brave or the damned would survive. The search party pushed deeper into the heart of Parvati Valley, their every step shadowed by a growing sense of dread. Guided by the fragments of the ancient cipher, they approached the entrance to a hidden chamber concealed beneath centuries of rock and legend. This chamber was said to hold the Guardian's most sacred secrets and perhaps the key to Justin Shetler's fate. As the team pried open the narrow stone doorway, a rush of cold air spilled forth, carrying with it the scent of earth, ancient wood, and something else, something almost indescribable, as if the very air vibrated with secrets long buried. Torches flickered against carved walls adorned with cryptic symbols and faded frescoes depicting shadowy figures and ominous rituals. The atmosphere thickened with each step deeper inside. Whispers seemed to echo from the walls themselves, indistinct voices that teased the mind and stirred unease. The explorers felt eyes watching from the darkness, unseen but undeniable. At the chamber's core lay a stone altar marked with symbols matching those from Satyanarayan Rawat's diary and the coded book. Surrounding it were relics, ancient artifacts, weathered scrolls, and a small, leather-bound journal that seemed oddly out of place. Could this be Justin's? As one member reached out to open the journal, a sudden tremor shook the chamber. Dust rained from the ceiling, and the air grew heavy with an oppressive energy. Outside, a distant roar echoed through the valley, nature's warning or something more sinister. The team's equipment began malfunctioning, flashlights flickered and died, radios crackled with static, and GPS devices spun wildly. It was as if the chamber itself resisted their intrusion. In the journal's fragile pages were hastily scribbled notes, Justin's own handwriting. His final thoughts detailed his growing fear, his sense of being hunted, and a desperate plea to anyone who might find his words: the Guardians are real. They watch, they wait, and they protect their secrets with blood. Beware the price of knowledge. The chamber was more than a relic of the past, it was a battleground between truth and silence, light and darkness. Outside, the storm raged on, cloaking the valley in shadows as the searchers faced a harrowing choice: press onward and risk the unknown, or retreat and leave the valley's secrets to sleep forever. The storm outside howled like a beast unleashed, its fury battering the ancient stones of the hidden chamber. Inside, the search team grappled with a chilling realization: they were not alone. The oppressive energy thickened, wrapping around them like invisible chains, sapping their courage and resolve. As they hurriedly gathered Justin's journal and relics, faint whispers turned into clear voices, haunting chants that seemed to emanate from the very walls. Panic seized the group as shadows flickered at the edges of their vision, shapes moving just beyond reach. The narrow entrance they had used to enter suddenly seemed impossibly distant. A low rumble shook the chamber, dislodging debris and blocking the exit with a cascade of rocks. They were trapped. Desperation set in. Flashlights sputtered and communications devices failed completely. Each heartbeat echoed like a drum in the suffocating silence. The team's only hope lay in deciphering Justin's final words, a plea laced with warnings and riddles. The Guardians do not forgive. To leave, one must answer their call or become part of the valley's silence forever. Frantically, they searched the chamber for clues. Symbols on the walls aligned with the cipher in Justin's journal, a puzzle demanding sacrifice and courage. One wrong step meant doom. Outside, the storm's rage masked any cries for help. The valley seemed to consume sound, light, and hope itself. Back in the village, whispers of the trapped team spread like wildfire. Locals spoke in hushed tones of those who entered the valley and never returned, their souls bound to the ancient curse. Meanwhile, in the shadowy corridors of power, officials debated the growing scandal. Some pushed for an immediate cease to the search, citing danger and futility. Others feared exposure of truths best left buried. For Justin's family, the silence was unbearable. Each passing moment without news deepened the agony yet also steeled their resolve to uncover the truth, no matter the cost. In the heart of Parvati Valley, where ancient rituals and modern mysteries collided, the fate of those who dared seek the hidden chamber hung in a precarious balance. Trapped beneath the ancient stones of Parvati Valley, the search team faced an impossible test. The air was thick with tension, every breath a struggle against the suffocating silence that threatened to swallow them whole. The journal's cryptic clues had led them here, but now the true challenge revealed itself, a challenge set by the guardians themselves. As the dust settled from the rockfall, the team discovered inscriptions glowing faintly on the chamber walls. Symbols pulsed rhythmically, as if alive, and a low, resonant hum filled the air. It was a call, a trial demanding answers, courage, and sacrifice. One by one, members of the team attempted to decipher the ancient riddles etched into stone, each phrase layered with double meanings and warnings. The tension grew palpable as mistakes triggered subtle but alarming consequences, shifting shadows, whispered threats, and inexplicable cold that bit through clothing and bone. The chamber seemed to breathe with a will of its own, responding to the intruder's every move. It was as if the guardians watched from beyond the veil, judging, testing, deciding who was worthy. Amid the pressure, the team uncovered a hidden compartment beneath the altar, revealing a small box sealed with ancient runes. Inside lay a relic, a pendant inscribed with the same symbols found throughout the valley and in Justin's journal. It radiated a strange energy, both alluring and ominous. As one member reached for the pendant, a voice echoed through the chamber, disembodied yet commanding. Only those pure of heart may wield the truth. Beware the cost of knowledge. The team's leader realized that to escape, they must prove themselves not only brave but worthy. A trial not just of mind, but of spirit. The fate of Justin Shetler, the missing survivalist, seemed entwined with this ancient test. Outside, the storm began to subside, but the valley's silence deepened. The world awaited news, hanging on the edge of hope and despair. Inside the chamber, time slowed. The guardian's challenge had begun. The chamber grew colder, the air thick with an invisible weight pressing down on the search team. Each heartbeat echoed loudly in the suffocating silence, as if the valley itself was holding its breath, waiting for a verdict. The guardian's challenge was no longer a puzzle of symbols but a test of wills. The pendant lay heavy in their hands, radiating an energy that both promised revelation and threatened doom. The team's leader, Maya, felt the crushing responsibility. The choice they made here could mean freedom or eternal entrapment. Whispers filled the chamber, voices of the lost, the vanished, echoing through the stone walls. Justin's words reverberated in Maya's mind. Only those pure of heart may wield the truth. But what did purity mean in a place steeped in darkness and deception? One by one, the team faced visions, haunting images of their deepest fears and regrets. Shadows danced just beyond their sight, tempting, taunting. The valley sought to unravel their resolve, to break their spirits. Maya saw Justin, not as the missing adventurer but as a symbol, a soul caught between worlds, seeking light amidst the shadows. She realized their trial was as much about confronting their own demons as it was about uncovering the valley's secrets. As the team wrestled with their visions, the pendant began to glow brighter. A low hum filled the chamber, growing to a crescendo that shook the very foundations of the cave. Suddenly, the chamber split with a blinding light, revealing a hidden passage, a narrow corridor carved into the rock, leading deeper into the heart of the mountain. But the choice remained, to step forward into the unknown, risking all for the chance to save Justin and perhaps themselves, or to retreat, leaving the valley's secrets and souls forever shrouded in darkness. Outside, the valley held its breath. Time was running out. The narrow corridor beckoned with an eerie glow, its stone walls whispering forgotten secrets as Maya and the remaining team members steeled themselves to move forward. Each step echoed in the vast darkness, the weight of the valley's mysteries pressing heavier with every breath. The air grew colder still, a biting chill seeping into their bones. Shadows seemed to stretch and writhe along the corridor, flickering like restless spirits. The path twisted and descended deeper, the faint glow from the pendant their only guide through the suffocating gloom. As they progressed, cryptic symbols reappeared, etched into the rock face with an artistry that defied time. Some bore familiar patterns from the diary and coded book. Others were unlike anything the experts had seen. The symbols pulsed faintly, as if alive, marking their passage with a silent warning. Then the whispers returned, this time clearer, more urgent, voices speaking in a language ancient and undecipherable. The team's courage faltered as the voices grew louder, echoing inside their minds, stirring memories and fears long buried. Suddenly, a chill wind swept through the corridor, extinguishing their torches and plunging them into utter darkness. Panic surged, but Maya steadied herself, clutching the pendant that now radiated a warm, steady light, cutting through the black. In the distance, faint shapes materialized, figures cloaked in shadow, their faces hidden but their presence undeniable. They were the guardians, the silent watchers of the valley, appearing as both protectors and jailers. A voice, neither male nor female, echoed around them. You have come far, but the valley demands a price. To save the lost, one must be lost. The team was faced with an impossible choice: surrender their freedom or risk losing themselves forever in the valley's abyss. Maya's heart pounded. The fate of Justin, of the team, and of herself hung in the balance. The valley's silence deepened once more, awaiting their decision. The chamber pulsed with a life of its own, the walls humming an ancient melody that seemed to seep into the very souls of Maya and her team. The guardian's words echoed relentlessly. To save the lost, one must be lost. Each syllable was a weight pressing down, a burden demanding a price beyond mere courage. The team exchanged fearful glances, the gravity of the choice before them sinking in. One among them would have to stay behind, become a part of the valley's eternal silence, so that the others might escape with Justin's truth, with hope. Maya's mind raced. The faces of Justin's family, the hope burning in their eyes, flashed before her. This was no longer about survival but sacrifice, a trial to prove their worthiness, to honor the man who had vanished into the valley's depths. As the shadows closed in, she felt a presence beside her. The spirit of Satyanarayan Rawat, or perhaps a guardian echo from the past, guiding her through the darkness. His whisper was a balm and a warning. The valley takes, but it also gives. The price is heavy, but so is the truth. A unanimous silence fell. One by one, the team stepped forward, offering themselves for the sacrifice, each willing to bear the valley's curse. Maya, as leader, was faced with the final choice: who among them would pay the ultimate price. Before the decision could be made, the chamber trembled. A blinding light erupted, and from the shadows emerged a figure, neither friend nor foe, a messenger of the valley with eyes that held the weight of centuries. You seek to break the cycle, the figure intoned. But the valley's balance is delicate. Choices made here ripple through time. In that moment, Maya realized their journey was far from over. The sacrifice might not be the end, but a new beginning, one fraught with greater dangers and darker secrets. The fate of Justin Shetler and all who dared enter the valley hung in the balance, a story written in shadow and light where every choice carried the weight of eternity. The figure's words hung heavy in the chamber's still air, a reminder that the valley's secrets were woven into the fabric of time itself. Maya's heart pounded as she grappled with the gravity of the moment. Their choices were no longer simply about survival, but about preserving a fragile balance that stretched across centuries. The messenger revealed that the valley's curse was not a punishment but a pact, an ancient agreement forged to protect knowledge too powerful for the outside world. Justin Shetler, in his relentless quest for truth, had unknowingly stepped into this eternal contract. As the team listened, the chamber walls seemed to come alive, projecting visions of the past. They saw the first guardians, a group of wise men and women who vowed to guard the valley's sacred knowledge, sacrificing their freedom to keep it hidden. The price was steep, but the cost of exposure was far worse. The visions then shifted to Justin, his journey from hopeful adventurer to a man hunted by forces both human and supernatural. They saw his fears, his discoveries, and the moment he crossed the threshold into the valley's darkest heart. The messenger offered a choice: embrace the pact and become guardians themselves, protectors of the valley's secrets, or leave and forget everything, carrying the burden of silence. The team wrestled with their decision. To stay was to sacrifice their lives but preserve the valley's fragile balance. To leave was to escape but doom others to the same fate. Maya looked around at her companions, seeing the weight of their shared destiny reflected in their eyes. They were no longer mere searchers, they were becoming part of the valley's story, entwined in its curse and its salvation. Outside, the valley's mists thickened as if the mountains themselves awaited their choice. The storm had passed, but the true tempest was only beginning. The chamber fell into a profound silence, broken only by the steady breath of those gathered within. The weight of choice pressed upon Maya and her team like the very stones that surrounded them. Outside, the valley lay cloaked in mist, its secrets poised on the edge of revelation or eternal shadow. The messenger's eyes, deep and ancient, bore into their souls. "Your decision will bind you," the voice intoned. "Guardianship is not a curse but a calling. To protect is to sacrifice. To forget is to condemn." One by one, the team spoke their vows, accepting the pact that tethered them to the valley and to Justin's fate. Their voices echoed through the chamber, a solemn chorus weaving new threads into the valley's ancient tapestry. Maya stepped forward last, feeling the cold stone beneath her fingers and the weight of history in her heart. As she accepted, the pendant she carried pulsed with a radiant light, and the chamber seemed to breathe with renewed life. Visions flooded her mind, the faces of those lost before, including Justin, their spirits now guardians watching over the valley's sacred grounds. She understood at last that the valley did not take souls out of malice, but to preserve a balance between worlds, a sacred trust passed through generations. Outside, the morning sun pierced the fog, casting golden light on the mountains. Search teams found the chamber's entrance open, but the team inside had vanished, leaving behind only whispered legends and unanswered questions. Back home, Justin's family received a letter written in his hand, though dated months after his disappearance. It spoke of peace found beyond fear, of a purpose greater than life itself, and a hope that those who seek truth will one day understand the valley's eternal watch. The Parvati Valley remained a place of mystery, a realm where the line between life and legend blurred, where sacrifice and salvation danced beneath the Himalayan peaks. And as the winds carried the valley's secrets into the world, one truth endured. Some mysteries are meant to be lived, not solved. Some stories, whispered but never fully told.